Humanity had always dreamed of reaching the stars. For centuries, humans had looked up at the night sky, wondering if there was more out there beyond their own world. They had sent probes to explore distant planets, but it wasn't until the 22nd century that humanity finally achieved what it had always wanted: interstellar travel. The first human colony was established on Mars, a barren red world that would become the stepping stone to the stars. After Mars, humans reached the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, then ventured even farther. By the year 2247, human ships traveled through the galaxy, visiting planets and moons across distant star systems. But even with all this success, humanity was still just beginning to understand the vastness of the universe and the mysteries it held. The galaxy was not empty. It was filled with countless alien civilizations, some peaceful and others not so much. In the early years of space exploration, humanity had met several of these species, but they were far from friendly. Wars had broken out between humans and the alien races, many of them over resources or the question of who should control which planets. However, despite these challenges, humanity never gave up. Their resilience was unmatched, and it became known throughout the galaxy. On Earth, the people didn't know that they had become the subject of much discussion beyond their planet. What started as a simple exploration mission turned into a mystery for the rest of the galaxy. Every time humanity made contact with a new species, there was an undeniable sense of curiosity. But what was most surprising to the aliens was not the technology or the exploration, but the humans themselves. The first hint of what made humans special came from a peaceful race of aliens called the Valorans. The Valorans had observed humans for some time, watching how they built colonies, how they worked together, and how they faced difficult challenges with unbreakable will. While other species relied on their strength or intelligence, the Valorans noticed something different in humans: their ability to keep going, no matter the odds. It wasn't just their survival skills that intrigued the aliens. Humans seemed to possess an unspoken strength that no other species had. They were able to connect with one another in ways that the Valorans had never seen before. Despite their many differences, humans could always find common ground. It was this connection, this drive to build and create, that made them stand out in the eyes of the galaxy's women. But none of this was known to the humans themselves. The idea that they were seen as special was a mystery. Captain Eric West, one of the most experienced diplomats in the United Earth Space Federation, had just returned from a mission to a distant star system when he first began to notice it. On his travels, he had met several alien women, and each time he did, they seemed different. There was something in their eyes, a look of fascination mixed with admiration. They were not looking at him as just a man or a leader, but as something more. He had brushed it off at first, thinking it was a simple curiosity. After all, humans were newcomers to the galactic scene, and other species had every right to be curious about them. But as the months went on, it became harder to ignore. Alien women across various species were drawn to him in a way that seemed unusual. It wasn't just his appearance or his skills as a diplomat. It was as if there was something else they were looking for, something in the human spirit. Captain West wasn't sure what to make of it. He wasn't the first human to travel through space, and he certainly wasn't the most important person in the galaxy. But the attention he was receiving from alien women, especially those from more advanced and powerful civilizations, was puzzling. Was it simply admiration for his work, or was there something deeper at play? One day, while attending a diplomatic summit on the planet Ryloth, West had a conversation with an alien historian named Lyra. She was a member of the Trian race, known for their deep knowledge of galactic history. During their chat, she casually mentioned something that made West stop in his tracks. "You know," she said, "the history of humans is fascinating. You've been through so much, yet you continue to push forward. You have a spirit unlike anything we've seen before." Her words struck him like a thunderclap. Could it be true? Was humanity's persistence, its spirit of never giving up, truly something that other races found extraordinary? For the first time, He realized that the admiration wasn't just about technology or strength. It was about something deeper, something no one, not even the humans themselves, fully understood. Captain West left the summit that day with more questions than answers. But one thing was clear. The rest of the galaxy saw something in humanity that made them different from every other species. And it wasn't just curiosity. There was something powerful and unique about humans that alien women everywhere had begun to dream of. A connection that went beyond mere attraction. Little did he know, this was just the beginning of an incredible journey that would change humanity's place in the galaxy forever. Captain Eric West had spent years traveling through space, representing humanity in diplomatic missions across the galaxy. He had met countless alien species, some friendly, others more distant. But over time, he began to notice something strange. Every alien woman he met, no matter where he went, seemed to view him with a certain respect. It wasn't just admiration for his skills or his ability to negotiate peace. It was something deeper, something he couldn't quite understand. The feeling first struck him during a visit to the planet Zoltar, home to the Tsari species. The Tsari were known for their intelligence and sophistication. Yet, when Captain West arrived to discuss trade agreements, he was met with warm smiles and an almost reverent attention from the Tsari women. At first, he thought they were simply intrigued by humanity's place in the galaxy. After all, humans had only recently started venturing beyond their home planet. But as the days passed, it became clear that their fascination wasn't based on curiosity alone. At the final banquet of the diplomatic summit, Captain West found himself seated next to one of the Tsari leaders, a woman named Sylith. She was tall, with striking features that seemed to glow under the light of the planet's twin moons. As they exchanged pleasantries, West couldn't help but notice how her eyes lingered on him, filled with an expression he couldn't quite place. It wasn't the usual polite interest he received from other leaders. It was something more, something personal. "Captain West," Sylith said softly, her voice almost a whisper. "You know, it's said that humans have something special about them. A kind of strength that no other species possesses." West smiled, unsure how to respond. "Strength. We've had our share of struggles, that's for sure." Sylith nodded, her gaze never leaving his face. "It's more than just physical strength. Humans have an inner resilience. No matter what happens, you never give up. You keep fighting, even when the odds are against you. It's something we find inspiring." West was taken aback. He had never thought about it that way before. To him, the challenges humanity faced were just a part of life. But to these alien women, it seemed that every struggle, every setback, only made humans more appealing. It was as though the very act of overcoming adversity was what made humans stand out in the galaxy. The next day, as Captain West prepared to leave Zoltar, he was approached by another Tsari woman, a scientist named Valora. She was known for her sharp mind and vast knowledge of alien cultures, yet her demeanor was different from most. She wasn't just interested in human technology or advancements, she was fascinated by human emotions. "I studied your species," Valora said, her voice thoughtful. "And there's one thing I can't quite understand. Humans feel everything so deeply. Joy, sorrow, hope, fear. It's all so intense." West raised an eyebrow. "Is that a problem?" Valora shook her head, a small smile on her lips. "No, it's just unusual. Most species in the galaxy don't feel emotions the way you do. For many of us, emotions are seen as a weakness. But for humans, they seem to drive you. They give you purpose." West had never thought about it like that. He had always been proud of humanity's ability to persevere, to keep moving forward despite the hardships. But it was clear that this quality, this emotional depth, was something that made humans incredibly unique in the eyes of the galaxy. And it wasn't just about their emotional strength. There was something else. Over the following weeks, Captain West visited several other planets, each with its own alien species. On every planet, He encountered the same pattern. Alien women were drawn to him in ways that were hard to explain. They weren't just fascinated by his appearance or his status. It was something more. It was as though they could sense the very essence of humanity. The passion, the creativity, the unyielding will to survive and thrive. One evening, while aboard a starship traveling to a distant world, West had a conversation with his chief advisor, Lieutenant Maya. She had been traveling with him for years and had noticed the strange behavior of the alien women as well. "Captain," she said, "have you ever wondered why we're so different in the eyes of other species? They treat us like we're something extraordinary." West leaned back in his chair, staring out at the stars. "I've noticed it, but I can't figure out what it is. What makes us so special?" Maya paused, considering the question. "It's the human spirit," she said finally. "We have something no other species seems to have. We don't just survive. We adapt, we grow, we create. We find solutions where others might give up." West nodded slowly, the truth of her words sinking in. He had always thought of humanity's strength in terms of survival, but Maya was right. It wasn't just about surviving. Humans had an innate ability to build, to innovate, to dream. They didn't just face challenges. They overcame them, time and time again. As he continued his travels, Captain West began to understand the full impact of what he had discovered. It wasn't just that humanity had something unique. It was that the rest of the galaxy recognized it. The aliens were drawn to humans not for their strength or technology alone, but for their unwavering determination, their creativity, and their ability to make the impossible possible. For the first time, West realized that humanity's true power wasn't in their weapons or their ships. It was in their hearts, and that, it seemed, was something that every alien woman in the galaxy had long dreamed of, being a part of that powerful, unstoppable spirit. As Captain Eric West continued his travels through the galaxy, the strange fascination that alien women had with humans became more apparent. He had heard whispers and seen the way the eyes of alien women lit up when they saw him. It wasn't just admiration for a diplomat or respect for a leader. It was something deeper, but no one had explained why. The mystery gnawed at him. What was it about humanity that made them so special in the eyes of the galaxy? During a diplomatic mission to the planet Zephyra, home to a race of peaceful and ancient beings known as the Zephyri, West finally began to uncover a hidden truth. The Zephyri were known for their wisdom and their long history of observing the galaxy's species. They had seen civilizations rise and fall, but it was the humans who intrigued them the most. One evening, after a day of negotiations, West was invited to a private meeting with Elder Vasha, one of the oldest and most respected leaders of the Zephyri. Elder Vasha had lived for over 1,000 years, and her knowledge of the galaxy was vast. West had heard rumors that the Zephyri had been watching humanity for some time, but he had no idea why they were so interested. Sitting across from the elder in a quiet, dimly lit room, West felt the weight of her gaze. There was a deep understanding in her eyes, one that seemed to see far beyond the surface. "Captain West," Elder Vasha began, her voice soft but powerful, "there is something you must understand about your people. Something that other species in the galaxy have long known, but you have yet to fully realize." West leaned forward, curious. "What is it, Elder Vasha?" The elder smiled gently, as though she had been waiting for him to ask. "It is not just your technology, your ships, or your strength that sets you apart. It is your spirit. Humans have a unique ability to overcome obstacles, to find solutions when all seems lost. You are driven by something that no other species has." West blinked, trying to process her words. "But what do you mean? Isn't that just the will to survive?" "Ah," the elder said with a knowing nod. "It is more than survival. It is a force that comes from within. Your species has faced great challenges, wars, disasters, and hardship. Yet you never give up. You find hope when there seems to be none, and you rise again, no matter how many times you are knocked down." West was silent for a moment, thinking about what she had said. It was true. Humans had survived wars, poverty, disease, and natural disasters. They had built their cities, their colonies, and their civilizations from the ground up, facing each new challenge with determination. But he had never thought of it as something that set them apart from every other species. The elder continued, "You see, Captain, your species is the only one in the galaxy that is driven by such a powerful, unyielding force. This is what makes humans so unique in the eyes of other species. It is why alien women dream of being with you. It is not just about attraction. It is about connecting with that powerful human spirit." West sat back in his chair, the words settling in his mind. "So you're saying that our strength, our ability to keep going, is what makes us desirable to other species?" Elder Vasha nodded. "Yes. Many species in the galaxy have seen your kind of spirit in action. It is what has allowed you to rise so quickly among the stars. But what makes it even more remarkable is that you do not fully understand it yourselves. It is a gift, Captain, one that other species can only admire and hope to experience." The more West listened, the more he began to understand. It wasn't just about human resilience. It was about the way humans made connections, how they inspired others to be better. It was a force that extended far beyond their physical abilities or technological achievements. And that was what alien women longed for. They weren't just drawn to human men because of their appearance or their power. They were drawn to the essence of humanity itself, the very thing that made humans who they were. As the meeting came to a close, West felt a sense of clarity he hadn't had before. The galaxy saw humanity differently than humans saw themselves. To the rest of the galaxy, humans were not just another species. They were a symbol of hope and strength. And that strength came from the human heart, a heart that never gave up, no matter the challenges. As he left the meeting with Elder Vasha, West felt a strange sense of pride. He had always known that humans were resilient, but now he understood that this resilience was something far greater than he had ever imagined. It was the very thing that made humanity the shining star of the galaxy. But there was still much to learn. The more West uncovered about humanity's role in the galaxy, the more questions arose. Why were alien women so drawn to human men? What was the true nature of this mysterious connection? And how would humanity's future unfold in a galaxy that was beginning to view them as something more than just another species? The answers were out there, waiting to be discovered, and Captain Eric West was determined to find them. After his meeting with Elder Vasha, Captain Eric West found himself thinking deeply about the mysterious connection between humanity and the rest of the galaxy. The more he learned, the more he realized that humanity was not just a young species trying to survive in a vast, unknown universe. They were something far more significant. They were symbols of hope, resilience, and potential. However, Captain West wasn't the only one beginning to recognize this truth. Across the galaxy, alien women had started to dream of being with human men. They weren't just attracted to them physically. They were drawn to the essence of what humanity represented, the powerful, unyielding spirit that had allowed humans to survive against all odds. One day, while traveling to the planet Norixie, West found himself in the middle of a diplomatic event that would turn out to be far more complicated than he ever expected. Norixie was a beautiful, lush planet, home to the Elvorian species, known for their advanced technology and strict social order. Their society was built around traditions that had lasted for thousands of years. But now, those traditions were being tested by something that had never been seen before, a fascination with humans. The Elvorian women, who were known for their elegance and wisdom, had started to view the human diplomats with a kind of longing that West had only begun to understand. They respected human strength and perseverance, but something more was at play. The Elvorian women had begun to compete with each other, not just for influence or power, but for the attention of human men. And this competition was not just among the women of Norixie. It had spread across the galaxy. When West arrived on Norixie, he was greeted by a delegation of the planet's leaders, but it was the women who caught his attention. They were different from the women of other species he had met. There was an intensity in their eyes, a kind of silent competition that made the air feel charged. At first, West thought it was just the usual formality of galactic diplomacy, but he soon realized that it was much more than that. The tension became clear during the opening banquet. As West made his way through the crowded hall, exchanging greetings with various Elvorian leaders, he noticed how the women kept looking at him. They didn't just stare out of curiosity. Their gazes were filled with admiration, but also with something else, something deeper. He couldn't help but feel that they were silently sizing him up, evaluating him not just as a representative of humanity, but as a symbol of something far more powerful. Later that evening, during a private conversation with Elvorian Ambassador Zenara, West couldn't ignore the fact that Zenara's attention seemed to linger on him longer than it should. She was an important leader of her people, and yet she seemed unusually fascinated by him. "You are very different from what we expected, Captain West," Zenara said, her voice soft but filled with meaning. "Your species has a unique energy, a drive that we have never seen in any other race." West frowned slightly. "I don't understand. What do you mean?" Zenara's eyes sparkled as she explained. "On Norixie, we are known for our logic, our wisdom. We value intellect and strength, but we also value order. But when we saw humans, we saw something more. We saw passion, a kind of fire that we do not possess. It is this fire that has drawn us to you." West felt a strange mixture of pride and discomfort. He had never thought of humanity in such terms. To him, the will to survive and adapt had always been a matter of course, not something to be admired by others. But here, on Norixie, he realized that what humans had was something that others longed for, something they saw as missing from their own societies. As the days went on, West continued to see how the Elvorian women vied for his attention. But it wasn't just about physical attraction. The women were interested in something far deeper, the connection to that human spirit that they had heard so much about, but never truly understood until now. They believed that by bonding with a human, they could tap into the same power, the same drive, that made humanity so exceptional. The competition reached its peak during a private ceremony held by the Elvorian Council. West was invited to speak, and as he stood before the assembly, he could feel the weight of the eyes on him. It was not just the council members who were watching. There were dozens of Elvorian women in attendance, each one waiting for a chance to make a connection with him. For a moment, West felt uneasy. He had always been a diplomat, a representative of humanity, but he had never imagined that his presence could cause such intense emotions among alien women. The reality of what he had learned, the way humanity was viewed as a symbol of strength and resilience, was beginning to dawn on him. But as the ceremony went on, West realized something important. It wasn't just the Elvorian women who were intrigued by humans. It was the entire galaxy. They saw humanity not as a mere species, but as a beacon of hope, a race that had the potential to lead others toward a brighter future. As the ceremony ended, West left with a new understanding of his role in the galaxy. He was no longer just a representative of Earth. He was a symbol of everything humanity stood for: hope, strength, and the power to overcome. And now, it seemed, the galaxy was watching closely, waiting to see how humanity would continue to rise. But with that attention came a challenge. How would humanity navigate this newfound interest? How would they respond to the growing competition from alien species, each one vying for a place by their side? The answers were still unclear, but one thing was certain: humanity's journey was only just beginning. As Captain Eric West continued his travels across the galaxy, the growing fascination that alien species, particularly their women, had for humanity became more undeniable. But the question remained: why were humans so special? What was it about their spirit that made them the object of such longing and admiration across the galaxy? Captain West was determined to discover the answers, but it seemed like every new planet he visited brought more complexity to the mystery. The next stop on his journey was the planet Terek. A cold, mountainous world covered in ice, Terek was home to the Torek, a fierce and proud species known for their warrior culture and commitment to their traditions. The Torek were physically imposing, with thick fur covering their bodies to protect them from the harsh climate. They had a deep respect for strength and honor, valuing combat skill above all else. Captain West knew that diplomacy with such a species would require patience and understanding. Upon arriving, West was met by a Torek delegation, led by their leader, High Chief Ralkar. The Torek had never been interested in outside alliances, but something had changed recently. The Torek, like other species, had begun to see humanity in a new light. They had heard the stories of human bravery, of how they fought for survival against overwhelming odds and still managed to rise above their challenges. It was this human spirit that had caught the attention of the Torek women. As West entered the Torek stronghold, he noticed the women watching him carefully. The Torek women were unlike any others he had met before. They were strong, their eyes sharp with intelligence and curiosity. It was clear that they valued strength, not only in battle but also in spirit. There was a certain energy in the air, an unspoken understanding that humans embodied the kind of determination that they themselves admired. After the formal greetings and ceremonies, Captain West found himself sitting with High Chief Ralkar in a large hall surrounded by the Torek warriors. They were discussing possible trade agreements, but the conversation quickly turned to a more personal topic. "You must be wondering why we invited you here, Captain," Ralkar said, his deep voice echoing through the stone walls of the hall. "We have heard much about your people, and we have come to respect you. But there is more to this meeting than just trade." West raised an eyebrow, curious. "What do you mean, High Chief?" Ralkar leaned forward, his eyes intense. "Your people have something we have never seen before, a fire, a will to survive and adapt that none of us can match. We have fought many battles in our time, and we are strong. But we have come to realize that strength alone is not enough. Your people, humans, understand something that we do not. Your hearts are powerful. It is that strength in your hearts that we seek." West felt a moment of realization. This was something he had heard before, but hearing it from the Torek was different. The Torek, a species known for their combat prowess, had come to recognize that the heart, humanity's ability to fight not only with strength, but with passion and love, was what set humans apart. "You wish to understand our strength," West said slowly, "the way we face challenges with unrelenting determination." "Yes," Ralkar answered. "But it is not just strength in battle that we seek. It is the strength of the heart, the courage to keep moving forward even in the face of death. We, the Torek, have long honored our warriors who fight for honor and survival, but we have never known the kind of resilience that humans possess. And it is that resilience, that spirit, that makes your people so unique." West paused, thinking about what Ralkar had said. It was true. Humanity's greatest strength was not just physical, but emotional. It was the ability to care, to love, to protect, and to fight for a future, even when the odds seemed impossible. It was this very spirit that had drawn the attention of species all across the galaxy, and now the Torek were seeing it for themselves. The meeting continued, but West's thoughts were elsewhere. He was beginning to understand that humanity's future in the galaxy would not just be shaped by diplomacy and trade. It would be shaped by the very essence of what it meant to be human. The will to fight for a better future, the determination to overcome every challenge, and the unbreakable strength of the heart. As the night wore on, Captain West found himself alone with one of the Torek women, a fierce warrior named Lyra. She was known for her battle skills and her sharp mind, and it was clear that she, too, was captivated by the human spirit. "You are different from us, Captain," Lyra said softly, her eyes filled with respect. "You do not just fight for survival. You fight for hope, for the future. That is what makes humans so powerful." West looked at her, feeling a strange connection. It was as if the Torek, with all their strength and pride, were starting to understand what humanity had to offer. They weren't just interested in humans because of their physical abilities or their technology. They were drawn to the heart of humanity. The belief that no matter how dark the world became, there was always hope for a better tomorrow. As the conversation ended, West couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. Humanity had something that no other species had, an indomitable will, a spirit that refused to be broken, no matter the odds. And now, the Torak understood that. They had come to respect humanity not just for its strength, but for its heart. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was leading the way. As Captain Eric West continued his journey through the galaxy, the growing awareness of humanity's uniqueness became impossible to ignore. More and more, alien species were starting to realize that humanity was not just another race. Humans embodied something extraordinary. They were more than just survivors. They were a beacon of hope and resilience in a galaxy full of uncertainty. The question was no longer about why humans were so special. It was about how this new understanding would shape the future. But not everyone in the galaxy viewed humanity with admiration. There were those who saw humanity's rise as a threat, and they were willing to test humanity's spirit. These tests came in the form of trials. Challenges designed to push humanity to its limits and see if they were truly worthy of the galaxy's respect. The first trial came from the Vizorians, an ancient species known for their complex rituals and their strict code of honor. The Vizorians had long been suspicious of humans, believing that their rapid rise in the galaxy was a sign of something dangerous. They had heard the stories of human bravery and resilience, but they were not ready to accept these qualities without proof. Captain West received a summons from the Vizorian High Council. He knew that the Council's trials were not to be taken lightly. The Vizorians were known for their deep understanding of strategy and their ability to create challenges that tested not only physical strength, but also mental and emotional endurance. As West traveled to their homeworld, he couldn't help but feel a sense of anticipation. He knew that the trial would not be easy, but he also knew that it was an opportunity to prove humanity's worth. Upon arriving, West was greeted by the Vizorian representatives, who were tall and imposing figures, their bodies covered in intricate patterns of tattoos that told the story of their ancient history. Their eyes were piercing, full of judgment, and it was clear that they were not interested in empty diplomacy. They wanted to see if humanity truly had the strength to face the challenges ahead. The trial was set in the vast, frozen plains of Vezir, a planet with no sun and an unforgiving climate. The Vizorians had prepared a series of tests, each designed to push West to his limits. The first test was physical. West was to climb the treacherous peaks of Vezir's icy mountains, a task that had defeated many who had attempted it before. With only minimal supplies and no external assistance, West would have to rely on his wits, his strength, and his will to survive. As he began the climb, the cold was overwhelming. The air was thin, and each step felt like a battle. But West pushed on, his mind focused on the task at hand. He thought of the many challenges humanity had faced, wars, disasters, and moments when all hope seemed lost. But humans never gave up. They always found a way to keep going, no matter how hard the journey became. It was this resilience that drove him forward. Hours passed, and the climb became more and more difficult. But just as his strength was beginning to falter, West remembered something his father had once told him. It's not about being the strongest or the smartest. It's about never giving up, no matter how hard it gets. With renewed determination, West continued the climb, finally reaching the summit. The sense of accomplishment was overwhelming. He had faced the harshest of conditions and had triumphed. The second test was a mental one. West was placed in a large chamber with an array of complex puzzles designed to test his strategic thinking and problem-solving abilities. The puzzles were intricate, requiring not just intelligence, but also patience and adaptability. As he worked through the challenges, West realized that the Vizorians were testing something deeper than his mind. They were testing his character. Could he remain calm under pressure? Could he think clearly when the stakes were high? Hours passed as he solved each puzzle, one by one. The Vizorians watched closely, their eyes never leaving him. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, West solved the final puzzle, and the chamber doors opened. He had passed the mental trial. The third and final test, however, was the most unexpected. The Vizorians asked him to face his greatest fear, something no one else in the galaxy had ever been asked to do. In the center of the arena stood a mirror, and as West approached it, he saw his own reflection. But it was distorted, twisted into something monstrous. The mirror showed him not as a hero, but as someone who had failed his people. It showed him the darkest corners of his own mind, the doubts and fears he had never acknowledged. For a moment, West felt his heart race. The fear was overwhelming. But then he took a deep breath and remembered what the Vizorians had been testing all along. This wasn't just about physical strength or intellect. It was about facing the darkness within and choosing to stand tall in spite of it. It was about the strength to confront fear and emerge stronger than before. With newfound resolve, West looked into the mirror and saw not a failure, but a man who had faced impossible odds and continued to fight. He wasn't perfect, but he was human, and that, in itself, was enough. The mirror shattered, and the trial ended. When Captain West returned to the Vizorian High Council, he was exhausted but proud. He had faced their trials, and he had passed. The Vizorians, who had once viewed humanity with skepticism, now saw the strength that lay at the heart of every human being. They had tested him in every way possible, and yet humanity's spirit had not wavered. It had only grown stronger. As he left Vezir, West couldn't help but reflect on what had just happened. The trials had shown him something important. It wasn't just about proving humanity's strength to other species. It was about proving it to themselves. Humanity's true power lay not in their technology or their physical prowess, but in their ability to rise above adversity, to face their fears, and to never give up, no matter what. The galaxy had been watching, and now humanity had earned its place among the stars. Captain Eric West stood on the balcony of the diplomatic ship, looking out at the stars. It had been months since he began his journey across the galaxy, representing humanity in the great expanse of space. What had begun as a diplomatic mission to make alliances had turned into something far greater, a journey of discovery, not only for the galaxy, but for humanity itself. Humanity had come a long way. At the beginning, they were just a young species, untested and unsure of their place in the cosmos. Now, they were a symbol of hope, strength, and resilience to the many alien species who watched their every move. The galaxy was beginning to understand that humanity's true power lay in something that no other species had in such abundance: the spirit of never giving up, no matter the cost. The trials had proven humanity's worth. From the Vizorians' icy mountains to the mental challenges set by the Elvorian Council, Captain West had led humanity's representatives through each test. They had faced physical dangers, mental puzzles, and deep personal fears. But through it all, they had stood tall, never breaking. The galaxy had taken notice. Yet, even with all that had been accomplished, there was still much to do. Humanity had earned respect, but respect was just the beginning. Now it was time to unite the galaxy, show everyone that the power of human spirit could inspire not only peace, but a new era of cooperation. As West thought about the future, the ship's communications officer called out, breaking his concentration. "Captain, we've received a message from the Galactic Council. They wish to speak with you." West nodded and walked into the communications room. On the large screen in front of him appeared the faces of the Galactic Council members. They were a diverse group, each representing a different species, from the peaceful Xarians to the warlike Torek. But all of them had one thing in common now: they respected humanity. Captain West, the Xarian representative, spoke first. "We have watched your people with great interest. What began as a curiosity has now become something more. We have seen the strength of your species, and we have seen the way you face adversity without fear. You are not just survivors, you are leaders." West stood tall as he listened, But his thoughts raced. What was this meeting about? You have earned our respect, the Tauric representative continued, his voice steady. And we have come to a decision. West's heart beat faster. What decision? He asked, feeling the weight of the moment. The Hazarian representative smiled. The Galactic Council has agreed to offer humanity a place among us, not as just another race, but as a partner in the future of this galaxy. We invite humanity to join the Council and help lead us into a new era of peace and unity. The room was silent for a moment. The news was both unexpected and overwhelming. Humanity had come so far, fighting their own battles, proving their worth, and finally, they were being offered a place in the galactic community. West felt a surge of pride. He had been part of a crew, part of a mission, but now it was clear. Humanity's place in the stars was secure, but it was more than that. This was a moment for all of humanity, not just for those who traveled among the stars, but for those back on Earth who had endured so much and had risen to become a beacon of hope. As West listened to the representatives discuss the details of humanity's new role in the Council, he couldn't help but think back to the journey that had brought them here. There had been moments of doubt, moments when it seemed like the odds were too great. But in the end, humanity had proven that they were more than just survivors. They were warriors of the spirit, champions of resilience, and leaders of the future. The galaxy was not an endless void of darkness. It was a place full of possibilities, full of hope. And humanity was ready to show everyone that no matter the challenge, they could rise to meet it. They were ready to lead, ready to create a future where all species, no matter how different, could work together in harmony. As the meeting concluded, West felt a weight lift off his shoulders. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. Humanity was no longer just a species among the stars. They were a guiding light, and as he looked out once again at the endless expanse of space, he knew that this was only the beginning. Humanity had earned its place in the galaxy, not just through strength or strategy, but through the power of the human spirit. And that spirit would carry them into the future, stronger than ever.